Hi, this is Joanna and welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. I like spending time with you. Today I'm talking about we become what we focus on, and I'm basing it on Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that says, "The thoughts that I have towards you, saith the Lord, are thoughts to prosper you, thoughts to give you hope and a future." And I just wondered, what would our lives be like if we just make that our focus? But before I go there, I wanted to ask, and maybe we all know somebody like this who is always angry, or the person who is bitter, the person who perhaps is malicious and vindictive. Do you think that they have thoughts that are happy and content? Do you think that they think wonderful, lovely thoughts, or do you think that they always have to think thoughts that are hurtful, or rehearse over and over and over in their minds the things that has happened to them in order to get them to the place where they want to have revenge? I always say, to be angry all the time, you have to maintain anger. You have to remind yourself of the thing that the person did that was so harmful to you that it made you angry. You have to remind yourself. And, we're made in such a way that you don't have to remind yourself. The brain will remind you, because the brain have a preference for negativity, and it will remind you, it will prompt you. You'll see that person and immediately your mind will be flooded with that thing that they did to you that was so hurtful to you, and your brain will be flooded with it, and you'll start to feel a certain kind of way, and then you'll act a certain kind of way, because it's thoughts first, feelings next, then actions follow. Okay, so the topic is we become what we focus on. So what if we were to focus on Jeremiah 29 verse 11? "The thought I think towards you are thoughts of peace and not of evil." See, God is thinking thoughts about you that is peaceful. So what happens when you always think about the loss that you've experienced, the abuse that you've suffered, the things that have happened to you? What kind of person does that make you? I remember a couple of years ago, I'd just come back from speaking, and God did a wonderful thing and he moved, and I heard some stuff that my abuser said that was very hurtful and sent me into a dark place. And I stayed there for about 3 days because I continually going over and over and over in my mind what had happened to me and what he said and what it made me feel like. And I remember my husband saying to me, I kind of hear his voice from a distance saying, "Honey, remember that you've done so much work. Remember the work that you've done." And it finally came through that, yes, I have done my work. I'm okay. I'm okay. And I had to remind myself that I have forgiven. I've forgiven. I've forgiven. And I had to say it to myself over and over and over, and train my brain again to think a certain kind of way about him and about me and about my experiences and what it felt like. And gradually, that tidal wave of pain subsided, and in its place came peace. I want you to experience that kind of peace, but not only me. God wants you to experience that kind of peace. He wants you to experience that kind of peace around the loss, around the grieving, around the shock, the hurt, the pain that comes back when the memories get flooded, when you're triggered, then the feelings that are not validated. The people that are refusing to apologize, they're not sorry, and you still have to heal. He wants you to experience peace about that. Whether they're sorry or not, don't let that hold you at ransom and stops you from getting the peace that God wants you to have. I chose that peace because I wasn't going to let them win twice, I say. They weren't going to hurt me and I suffer for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to let it happen. I hope you can think that kind of way about what you've experienced. And as I said, we become what we focus on. To move on, you have to take responsibility for your healing. It's nobody else's responsibility, and nobody else can do it for you. We can support you, walk alongside you on the journey, but inevitably you have to take the reins, and you have to think, God's thoughts towards me are thoughts of peace. He wants me to prosper. He wants to give me hope, and I want that hope. And hold on to that hope, because he wants you to have that hope. He wants to give you peace, not only for a day, not only for an hour, not only at nights, not only when the television is on and your frontal lobe is shut down. He wants to give you peace forever. When I think back to that experience in my life, I don't think of it in a troubled way. It no longer hurts me, it no longer affects me. I am at peace. God wants you to experience that same peace. But we become what we focus on. Focus on his words and what he says about you, and I know you'll find that peace. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.